The CIA doesn't study the way you do, and that's exactly why they learn in hours what takes you weeks. There's a method they use that was never meant to leave training rooms. They took them into a sealed room with no windows, no clock, no phone, no external reference to time, just a table, a stack of documents, and a man watching him. The instructions were simple. Memorize everything. You have 1 hour. But here's what they didn't tell him. Half the information was designed to be forgotten. Names that didn't matter. Dates that led nowhere. Noise disguised as signal. This wasn't a memory test. It was a filter test. And that's the difference between how CIA operatives learn and how you were trained to fail. You were never the problem. Your brain isn't slow. Your memory isn't weak. You were just fed a system designed for compliance, not performance. Schools reward repetition. Elite programs reward extraction. Students memorize everything. Operatives hunt for what matters. That's why they learn faster, not because they're smarter. Because they're using something you were never shown. A classified framework I'm about to break open for you. They call it nothing publicly, but internally, it operates like a weapon. I call it the ghost assimilation protocol. And once you see it, you can't go back to learning like everyone else. Phase 1, asterisk signal extraction. Most people read to understand. That's your first mistake. Understanding is slow. Selective extraction is fast. CIA trainees are taught to scan for operational anchors, not everything, just leverage points, names that repeat, concepts that connect, anomalies that don't fit. Everything else? Disposable. There's a reason intelligence analysts can process hundreds of pages in hours. They're not reading, they're interrogating the material. Every sentence gets one silent question. Is this useful or is this bait? If it doesn't directly move the mission forward, it's ignored. You were trained to treat all information equally. They were trained to treat most information as trash. That's your first shift. You don't read more. You extract harder. Phase 2, asterisk, the fracture loop. This is where it gets uncomfortable, because this is where most people quit. In high-pressure training, Navy SEAL candidates are forced to recall procedures while exhausted, cold, and disoriented. Why? Because perfect conditions create weak memory. The brain only locks information when it's forced to fight for it. CIA cognitive drills use something similar. They call it stress-layered recall. I call it the fracture loop. Here's how it works. You don't review information smoothly. You break it, interrupt it, delay it, distort it, read something once, then walk away. Come back when your mind resists. That friction? That's where encoding happens. Students chase clarity. Operatives weaponize confusion. Because when your brain struggles, it upgrades. If recall feels easy, it won't last. Phase 3, asterisk blackout retrieval. This is the part nobody teaches, because it feels like failure. You sit down, no notes, no hints, and you force recall. Nothing comes out. Good. That blackout moment, that's the doorway. CIA memory conditioning uses forced reconstruction, not recognition. Recognition is weak. Reconstruction is power. Instead of rereading, you rebuild from fragments, even if it's messy, even if it's incomplete, especially then, because every failed recall attempt strengthens the neural path. Every struggle carves it deeper. Students avoid that discomfort. Operatives chase it. They know something you don't. Memory isn't built when you see the answer. It's built when you fight to reach it. Phase 4, asterisk compression strike. This is where you become dangerous. Because now, you don't just remember information, you control it. Elite intelligence briefings are never long. They're compressed, because complexity kills execution. After extraction, fracture, and retrieval, you compress everything into its most lethal form. One sentence, one structure, one mental model. If you can't compress it, you don't own it. Fighter pilots don't memorize manuals midair. They rely on compressed protocols, instant recall, zero hesitation. That's the level you're stepping into, not more knowledge, faster deployment. This is why CIA operatives learn faster than students. They don't play the same game. You were trained to absorb. They were trained to filter, stress, reconstruct, and compress. That's the gap. And now you've seen it. But here's the part nobody says out loud. Most people will never use this, not because it's hard, because it's uncomfortable. It forces you to drop the illusion of studying and step into something colder, more precise, more aggressive. This isn't learning. This is cognitive warfare. Against distraction, against inefficiency, against the system that kept you slow. So here's your mission. Next time you sit down to learn, you don't read, you extract. You don't review, you fracture. You don't check answers, you black out and rebuild. Then you compress it until it hits like a weapon. Comet, asterisk, ghost protocolus if you're done playing student and ready to operate like something else. Because this was never meant for classrooms. This was built for people who refuse to think at average speed.